We had an exciting double overtime game on Sunday between number 1 Notre Dame and number 13 NC State. This game was full of star talent, including Miles, Hogo, Citron, James, Rivers, and Brooks. But for this week's Prospect Stock Watch, I'm focusing on Aziaha James and Sia Rivers. Both had big performances and were key to NC State's 104-95 upset win. Let's dive in. Stock up, Aziaha James. Let's start with Aziaha James, a 5'0" shooting guard at NC State, ranked number 14 on my 2025 draft board. In this game, she had 20 points, 5 rebounds, and 2 assists, shooting 6 of 13 on twos, 2 of 6 from 3, and making both her free throws. If I were picking players in a fantasy draft to score on one possession, Aziaha would be high on my list. She's simply great at scoring. We saw it last year during the NCAA tournament. She was scoring 20-plus points almost every night toward the end of the season. This year, it's the same. She scores in bunches and can go on a personal 10-0 run in minutes. She's one of the best mid-range shot creators in college basketball. What's wild is she often scores better with a defender in her face than when she's wide open, especially from mid-range and even from 3. Her contested shots are more accurate than her open ones. How does this skill set translate to the WNBA? She's a solid cutter, but her catch-and-shoot three-point numbers haven't been consistent in college. I wanted to compare her to someone in the W to see what her potential ceiling and floor could be. If she doesn't become a consistent shooter or scorer, her floor might look like Zia Cook in the WNBA. Here's a quick stat comparison. As of February 24th, James is shooting 59% on half-court rim attempts compared to Cook's 51%. In the mid-range, James is 17 percentage points better with the same volume. Neither shoots many pull-up threes, but James has the edge in volume and accuracy. On catch-and-shoot threes, Cook is more consistent, making her a slightly better prospect in that area. Now let's look at James's best-case scenario. If you draft her in the late first or early second round, who might she become? I see her as similar to Shatori Walker-Kimbrough, a scoring-focused guard around the same size who plays solid defense. Another comparison is Natisha Hiedeman, a fellow lefty guard, though she's a bit shorter. There's also Prekia Durr, a former top 2 draft pick. Overall, I see James more as a bench spark plug who can give you quick points rather than a full-time starter. She's the kind of player you could see on a championship team. Not necessarily the star you build around, but someone who fits in and adds real value. Take Shatori Walker-Kimbrough, for example. She's played 233 career games and started 53 of them, shooting 35% from 3. That's a very reasonable expectation for Aziaha James in the WNBA. I could see her becoming a 35% three-point shooter and averaging somewhere between 6 to 9 points per game during her best seasons. Her scoring ability is impressive. What really stands out is how she scores without needing a lot of dribbling. She's efficient, just 1 or 2 dribbles and straight into a pull-up jumper in the mid-range. No extra flash, just smart and effective movement to get to her shot. She's a natural scorer, and that's why those player comparisons make sense. For where she might go in the draft, I wouldn't take her at number 9 if I'm the LA Sparks. They already have Chini Ogwumike, who they drafted in 2023, and she's a similar type of player, about 5'9" or 5'10", scoring guard, with some questions about playmaking and passing. So LA probably isn't the best fit. But at number 10, Chicago could be a good option. They need more players who can create their own shots. Minnesota at 11 is another possibility. Even Las Vegas at 13 could be interesting. They need more young depth, and James coming off the bench could give them a scoring boost. Those are 3 teams I think could really benefit from drafting her. Overall, James is one of the most entertaining players in college hoops. She's also a solid defender, not elite or lockdown, but reliable. She's usually in the right spot, plays hard, and makes smart decisions. For her role, that's exactly what you want. Stock even. Saniya Rivers. Now let's move to James's teammate, Saniya Rivers. She's a 6'1" wing for NC State, but she's basically been their point guard for the last 2 seasons, running the offense and handling the ball most of the time. In the game against Notre Dame, she had 14 points, 13 rebounds, 9 assists, and 5 combined steals and blocks. Her shooting wasn't great. She went 5 of 17 on 2-point shots, but she did make 3 of 4 free throws. With Rivers, it's all about the defense. She's one of the best wing defenders I've ever scouted. She excels in every defensive role. On-ball defense, help defense, reading passing lanes, stopping drives, playing ball screens, chasing shooters. She does it all. She's also a fantastic rim protector from the weak side, and is a beast in transition, making plays in the open court. I had the chance to watch her live when NC State played Georgia Tech last Thursday. After the game, I spoke with Georgia Tech head coach Nell Fortner and guard Tony Morgan to ask about Rivers, and here's what they had to say.
Coach, you've seen Saniya Rivers the last 3 years in the ACC.
Yeah, is she a senior? Because I'm ready for her to go.
Can you talk about her defense and just how she can play in so many different spots?
Yeah, she's really good. She's going to be a really good pro. She is pro ready. But her length, how lengthy she is makes her an even better defender because she can give up space and take it away quickly with her long arms.
Yeah, she's a long guard. I think about 6 foot. I'm like a 6'5" wingspan, and she's really long. She's a good player. It's something we definitely try to prepare for, but it's something you can't really imitate in practice. So we know a good.
Coach, you've seen Saniya Rivers for 3 years now in the ACC. What are your thoughts on her? A. Yeah. She's a senior, right? Because I'm ready for her to graduate. Laughs. She's just that good. She's going to be a strong pro. She's already pro-ready. What really makes her special is her length. She can give defenders space and still recover quickly, thanks to those long arms. I think she's about 6'1" with a 6'5" wingspan. That length makes her a great defender. She's tough to prepare for. There's really no way to fully simulate her in practice. When you see a great defender, you know it. And Saniya is that. She's got everything defensively: size, wingspan, athleticism. But the reason she's not a top 5 pick in this draft? It's the offense. If Saniya were even a good offensive player, she'd be in that top 5 conversation easily. Her athletic ceiling is so high. That said, she's a very good passer. That's probably her best offensive skill. Especially in pick-and-roll situations, she's excellent at making pocket passes, finding cutters, and keeping turnovers low. She actually has one of the lowest turnover rates out of ball screens in college hoops. Think of Cheyenne Sellers at Maryland, 6'1", 6'2", primary playmaker. Saniya has had a similar role at NC State, but in the WNBA she likely won't be handling the ball as much. The big question is, how does her game translate when she's used off the ball? Right now, NC State doesn't use her much as a cutter or spacer. Their offense focuses more on players like Zoe Brooks pushing the pace or creating out of isolations and handoffs. It's very different from a team like UConn that runs more off-ball actions. At UConn, players are constantly cutting, relocating, and getting movement off screens. So what happens if Saniya is in a system that uses her more as a cutter or floor spacer? Something like what we're seeing with Jordan Horston in Seattle. That could really bring out the best in her. To help visualize that, I compared Saniya's offensive numbers this season to a few past defensive first-wing prospects who also had shooting questions. I looked at half-court rim attempts, non-rim, twos, and catch-and-shoot threes. Here's the breakdown. Saniya Rivers, 2024. At the rim, half-court, 54%. Non-rim twos, 34% on 3.9 attempts. Catch-and-shoot threes, 32% on 2.0 attempts. Dejonai Carrington. Rim, 60%. Non-rim twos, 20% catch-and-shoot threes, 31% Gabby Williams. Rim, better than Saniya, but in a system where she cut a lot more non-rim twos. 39% didn't shoot many threes. Jordan Horston. Rim, 52%. Non-rim twos, 27% catch-and-shoot threes, 33%, highest on this list. Markesha Davis, 2024, Nord 12 pick to New York. Rim, 52%. Non-rim twos, 36% catch-and-shoot threes, 26%. These numbers show that Saniya is right in the mix with other defensive wings who made it to the league, even though her current offensive role may not show her full potential. The real question is whether a WNBA team can unlock her offense by giving her a role that better fits her athletic skill set. When comparing these players, we also looked at how often they run isolation and pick-and-roll plays per game, as well as how many shots they take off cuts. Among all the players mentioned, Saniya Rivers has the lowest number of field goal attempts, Off-cuts only 0.4 per game, but the highest frequency when it comes to pick and roll and isolation plays. So what does that mean for her future in the WNBA? If Saniya can't shoot, then her path to being a high-level contributor relies heavily on becoming a defensive and transition-focused player, just like Dejanay Carrington. Carrington isn't a good shooter and struggles to finish in the half court, but her defense and transition offense make her really valuable. Gabby Williams is similar. She doesn't shoot well or get to the rim much, but she defends so well that she still earns meaningful minutes. Jordan Horston stands out as one of the best off-ball cutters in the league. Again, defense is what keeps her on the floor. So the big question with Saniya is, can she be a good enough finisher in the half court? She's gotten better, but we still haven't seen her used much as a cutter. Is that because she can't cut effectively? Or is it because NC State just doesn't ask her to? That's something scouts are still figuring out. Where could Saniya Rivers be drafted? Right now I have her ranked number 10 on my draft board. Where might she realistically go? Number 6. Washington Mystics. If they keep all 3 of their first-round picks, this could be a high-upside pick. 48, Connecticut Sun. Maybe. Could go best player available if she grades out high. Number 9, Los Angeles Sparks. I doubt it. They'll probably want more shooting under new head coach Lynn Roberts. They're at 10, Chicago Sky. Possible, but they need shooting too. Number 11, Minnesota Lynx. They could consider her depending on who's left. 12 and number 14, Dallas Wings. I like this fit. Pairing her with Dejanay Carrington would give them a defensive identity. Number 13, Las Vegas Aces. This would be fun. That team could use a young, athletic defender like her. Number 15, Minnesota. Again. If she falls, they could scoop her up with their second pick. Honestly, her draft range is really wide. Some teams will love her potential, especially on defense, but others might be concerned about her limited shooting and offensive upside. The key question teams are asking, if she can't shoot or score consistently, is her defense enough to keep her on the floor in big playoff moments? Carrington proved it is, but will Saniya reach that level? It's not guaranteed, but the tools are there. I believe she can become an all-WNBA defender in time, but even that isn't guaranteed yet. Let me know in the comments. What do you think about Saniya Rivers and Aziaha James as WNBA prospects? NC State is one of the best teams in college basketball right now, and they could make another deep tournament run in 2025. Make sure to like, subscribe, and drop a comment for the algorithm. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.